Now, the other thing I want to talk about is error catching. We saw in the last project that if I accidentally entered in a word instead of a number, like here for the quantity of 1, and let's say price is 50, if I do my calculation now, instead of ending my project abnormally and blowing up like we saw in the last project, we are now getting an error message window that says, you have a data entry error. Your quantity must be numeric. When I click the OK, it takes me back to the quantity that I typed in so that I can correct it. Now, let's say, for example, I typed in the price incorrectly and I typed in 50 and I hit calculate. Now, again, it's telling me I have a data entry error, but this time it's not saying the quantity must be numeric, it's saying the price must be numeric. So I click OK, and again, it takes me back to the text box where the error is occurring so that I can correct my error. And now if I hit calculate, I'm all good to go. So let's take a look at how that's happening in our code. We're using something called a try-catch block, and we're going to include the word try right before the code that might be the code that ends abnormally if we have a problem with our input. So I'm saying I'm going to try and convert the quantity that the user typed in. I'm going to try and convert that to a number. If something goes wrong with that conversion, it jumps down to what's called our catch. And our catch tells us what to do in the case of that error. I'll come back to the catch in a minute. So I'm trying to convert my quantity to a number. If that works fine, and I have no problems with that, it moves down to the next try. And it says, okay, that was all good. Now I'm going to try and convert my price from text to a number. And as long as that goes fine, I just continue on and do my calculations and so on. But if the first try goes wrong or the second try goes wrong, we have to have corresponding catches. Now, the way it works is the innermost try or the second try goes with the innermost catch. So they're nested. So the last try goes with the first catch. The innermost try goes with the innermost catch. So if I'm trying to parse my price and the user entered in a bad price, it jumps down to this catch and it does what it tells us to do. So what does it tell us to do? It says send a message box to the user, and you'll read up in the book about how to create a message box. We're creating a message box with this message: price must be numeric. This is the title bar, data entry errors on the title. Then we're using an OK button in there, and we're putting an exclamation point icon. So that's our message box. Once we show the message box, then we want to go back and put the focus in the price text box. That means put the cursor back in there so the user can fix their error, and also select all from the price text box. And that allows the whatever was typed in there to be highlighted in blue so that the user can just type right over it without having to select it. So if I put in a bad price, let's watch this again. Let's see what happens if I put in a bad price. All right, let's say my quantity is 2 and my price, I type in 10. It gives me my error message. There's the error message we saw. There's the title bar text that we saw, the OK button, and the exclamation point. All of those things we defined as part of our message box. When we click OK, it puts the focus back into the price text box, and notice how that what I typed in is highlighted. That's what the select all does. It highlights it so that I can retype over it and now proceed correctly. Okay, so going back to our code again, the catch is going to tell it what to do if there's an error. Now, let's say that my first try is the one where I had a problem. I entered the quantity in incorrectly. That's going to come down and execute the second catch quantity exception. And again, that has a different error message. It says the quantity must be numeric, and it doesn't put me back in the price text box. It puts the focus back into the quantity text box and selects whatever the user typed in for the quantity so that we can type over it. So it deals with each error individually. Then there's another catch down here at the bottom, which is kind of like a catch-all. And that catch-all says if there's any other type of error, then go ahead and just put out a generic error message using a system-generated error. Now notice that after my first catch, I had an end try. After my second catch, I don't have my end try until after this catch-all. But normally for each try, you're going to have a catch and an end try. But because I included this catch-all, it's kind of part of the same try that I had at the very top. I just don't want you to get confused about that. But normally for each try, you're going to have a catch and an end try. Now going forward with your homework, remember for every piece of input that you need to convert from text to numeric, you're going to need a try. So if you're putting in 3 numbers that you have to convert, then you're going to have 3 tries and 3 catches. Okay, so I hope this helped you guys to understand how error catching works and also to understand the difference between variables that are defined up at the top as module level. They keep their value and they can be used in any procedure versus variables that are described locally inside a procedure that are only available in that procedure and lose their value as soon as that procedure is done executing. So running totals need to be defined up here at the top as module level. Okay, well, I hope that helps you with finishing up your Chapter 3 hands-on. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.